What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Luke G TV, and I'm your host, Luke G. Know it's been a while, guys, since I've cranked out an episode. Been feeling pretty under the weather. Did a live stream tonight. I kind of told some people about my thyroid issues, some of my setbacks I've been having lately. But anyways, man, on a little bit lighter of a note, I just kind of wanted to do a fun video, a video, what it was like in the late 2000s. What was partying like before the up, the down, the all around, before all that crazy stuff, when it was just mollies, malt liquor, and mayhem. That was pretty good. I just made that up on the fly. Anyways, so what was it like partying in the year 2009? I didn't graduate, but I was scheduled to graduate high school in 2008. I was born in 1990, so 2008, 18, 2009, 19. So I'm 19 years old at this point, and basically what I have decided to do with my life is not go to college. I got a job at a car dealership. Car detailer.
Take advantage of Village Chevrolet sign and drive lease specials.
I wasn't doing horrible. I wasn't doing great. I definitely wasn't like pushing myself to be all I could be. I was, a low-level weed dealer. This is before I, got kind of big time. Not like I was ever that big time, but in this era, I was very small time. I was like picking up like $250 to $300 worth at a time and just selling it out in small increments and making very minimal money. And I wasn't that big of I smoked, but I wasn't that big of a smoker back then. So I was always pretty good at getting rid of weed because I never really had any interest in doing it. Anyways, we used to hang out in a little town called Deep Haven, Minnesota. We hung out there often. Deep Haven is a little town in between Minnetonka and Excelsior, Minnesota. You might have heard of Lake Minnetonka from Dave Chappelle when he's joking about Prince.
Well, for starters, you have to purify yourself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka.
What?
But anyways, Lake Minnetonka is like, pretty much the richest area in Minnesota. And Deep Haven is just a small little rich town too. It's very small. There's probably like 1,000, 2,000 people. It may be like 2 or 3 square miles, the whole town. There's probably 4 or 5 squad cars. They actually have a Deep Haven police department, 4 or 5 squad cars. Shout out Nick Westgard. Nick Westgard's dad was a cop. He used to always come bust us at our parties and stuff like that. I had a friend, and his name was Molzon. Now, Molzon was like a tall, goofy, funny freaking kid. Like, this kid was like, one of those people, one of those kind of people who they're just naturally funny. Like, not just like the way they talk or the jokes that they say, but just like the way they like move. Like, this dude just like moved like a freaking goofy, you know what I mean? Like, not disrespectful, but he just moved like, he was just like hilarious, bro. Like, just always like, just like big kind of lanky dude. But he was on my basketball team, so he's kind of tall, lanky, kind of just goofy kid, But his dad was a musician, and he was a musician. He was a drummer, and his dad was a drummer, and they liked punk rock music. They liked rock and roll. They liked Led Zeppelin. They liked 70s, 80s classics. And Molzon liked rap too. He liked everything. He was like literally like a music connoisseur. So like when we would go to parties, like, cause I would party with Molzon quite a bit, like all the time. And his big thing was like, okay, we got to have a good iPod with good tunes on it, you know what I mean? And we got to have an aux cord so we can plug it into a speaker or whatever. So it was always just a mission. I mean, I'm pretty sure I usually had one, but like sometimes maybe I wouldn't have it, or whatever the case may be. I might have lost it, or we needed a new, whatever the case may be. If we were going to be at a party, Molzon was going to listen to good music, point blank period. That was it. I mean, there was no other option. It was like, you know, like in his mind, we might as well not even do it, dude. Girls? Yeah, that's one thing. Dude, good liquor? Cocaine? Yeah, that's all good. Dude, I want a fire playlist on my iPod 3rd gen, bro. Like, that was as good as it was gonna get from Molzon. I hung out with Molzon quite often in high school. Like I said, we played basketball together, and he was in different bands. He was always, you know, the start of many conversations in the high school, outside of the high school, you know, doing some crazy stuff at a party, or he hooked up with this girl or that girl, or Molzon freaking butt chugged a whole thing of Franzia, bro. No, that never happened. But, you know, like he would like, and oh yeah, and another thing too, speaking of the police, Nick Westgard's dad being one of them. We lived in a really rich community, so the police don't have anything else better to do out there besides pull over potheads and bus parties. Now, we partied in Deep Haven a lot because Molzon's dad had like some kind of traveling job / like girlfriend who lived over in Northeast or something like that, or I don't know the specifics. I could be wrong, but either way, his dad was out of the house a lot. And Molzon's dad's house, it was funny because like, just picture this like super rich, nice, like, you know, upper middle class area, and then like imagine like the smallest house that was built in like the 1950s, like a Rambler style flat house from 1952, maybe like 900 square feet. Freaking, what was it? Like a 2-bedroom? Yeah, it was like a 2-bedroom, terrible unfinished basement. Like it was so creepy down there. We didn't even go down there. But yeah, that was his house. So, you know, we would wait for Molzon's dad to go out of town, or there was another kid down the street named Brown. I'll just call him Brown just because I don't know if he wants to be named, but if anyone's watching this video who knows, you know who I'm talking about. But anyways, during this time, we were, you know, a little bit into the rave, the dubstep scene. You know, we were, you know, grinding our jaws and popping some triple stacks and stuff like that. And I remember this one specific time, there was 2 parties going on. There was one at Mike Brown's house, there was one at Molzon's. It was like, over the last couple weeks, it had gone from one house to another, and they live like probably 2.5, 3 blocks from each other, so they don't live long from each other. But so at Brown's house, I remember we got there and there was like 30 people there, you know what I mean? That night I decided to take 6 triple stacks. They were white Rolexes. And I remember we were like driving to this kid's house and we were like going around a curve, like a really crazy curve with a bunch of trees on the side. Like Deep Haven has these really long kind of like, I don't know, they almost look like trees from the south, you know, from like swamps and stuff like that. But anyways, these tree branches were like touching the ground and going back. They were like doing this kind of number, going like back and forth, kicking in. And I'm like, okay, I need to level myself out and have some drinks. So me and Molzon proceed to get extremely drunk. And then like it gets to a point in the night where this kid doesn't want people at his house anymore. He wants people to go. And, you know, looking back on it, we probably could have just stayed there. But it was one of those things where it was like, oh shit, well, whatever. I'm just not trying to piss this kid off. We're all too drunk to drive, and I'm not getting a D-dub. So this one girl's like, oh, I'll sober cab. I haven't been drinking at all. Cool, sweet. She gets in my car. We're like, okay, we need to get to Orono. Orono is on Lake Minnetonka as well. Kind of like the more working class, you know, people kind of say it's trashy, but there's a lot of nice houses still in Orono. There's like a lot of nice houses, but there's like a mix of working class and really rich. So anyways, this girl gets in the car, and of course we get pulled over, and of course she says at the last minute, I've been drinking. And I'm like, oh great. So basically what happens, my car gets impounded and it get put in the impound lot. We are in jail. We all get underage drinking tickets, and my dad has to pick us up. Got pretty pissed at us, and yeah, then picked us up and dropped us all off.